Fredrik Andresen, from Norway. My role in Regenerate is the Chief Commercial Officer, and my background is from more or less 2 decades working with OEMs in the car industry, also in electrification. Moving forward, as Norway, where I'm native from, is the pioneer in the world on EVs. So we run several projects, building recycling facilities, setting up units for dismantling, discharging, and handling of batteries over the last decade there as well. So decided to join Regenerate from December last year, and yeah, it's been quite a push so far.
Awesome. I know that we've been so happy to have you on board since you came about, and we've shared some fun times on the road in Europe already. So looking forward to what's ahead. I know that you're taking on a couple big projects right now, mainly in Italy, working with our team there. Can you give us a little bit of just about your last couple of weeks and what's to look forward to ahead?
Yeah, for sure. No, as I said, we have a couple of big projects going on, and Italy is now for the European team the priority number one, I have to say. We are considered as a key company from the Italian government for Italy to make the green transition. So with that in mind, it's time to deliver. So that's what we're doing. So we have applied for a grant. So we've been working on the application. We've been scoping up the pilot and also the industrial side. So the team is fantastic, I gotta say. So my role is more or less to just try to support them as much as I can on the overview, to structure things, to make things happen. So yeah, I'm more or less spending time little now to support the fantastic team we already have there.
Awesome. And then kind of just the game plan for looking ahead. What's our goal to set up in Italy? I know we're working out of Bergamo on a facility. Kind of what's the goal for I guess the rest of 2025, and then looking at 2026 for once we are up and running in Italy.
Yeah, I would say that it's an ambitious project, and I'm pretty sure the scope will change going along, if you know what I mean. But for now,
Definitely.
I would say like in 26, 27, we should go industrial, which means we will produce several thousands, tens of thousands of tons of material in Bergamo. So my role is also to ensure that we have the input of materials and the offtake agreements for materials. So we are actually, without disclosing who, of course, we
Yeah.
are in very good dialogue. We have very, very key relevant players to securing our infeed, but also on our offtakes. We had a great meeting with a company last week in Italy. They will build a battery production plant in Italy, and they will require a high proportion of our production for their production. So yeah, it's going to be a kind of a green closed loop synergy in Italy, actually. Let's
Wow.
see.
I see.
Yeah.
I know that's amazing, especially in Italy. I know that you spoke a little bit about the government labeling us as a strategic national interest. That's kind of been our North Star of Regenerate moving forward. And looking at not just Italy, but looking at other destinations, what kind of brings about that title of a strategic national interest? We can start with Italy, and then how do you look at us kind of taking that same position on our other projects as they come about, say in Scandinavia and as we move to the US as well?
Yeah, well, I think we need to look for even more establishment in Europe. You mentioned Scandinavia, Nordics. Of course, that's on the map for us. As you know, Zach, we have a project going on there, but right now it's been all hands on Italy. But for
Mhm.
me, Scandinavia, Nordics is next, together with one more destination in southern Europe.
Okay.
Um, Keep in mind that what we're doing here is so disruptive. We are totally changing the whole ball game here with what we're doing. So it won't be easy, but come on, it's so fun, and it's cool to be innovative, and it's just boring to be, let's say, yeah, to do what you always have done. So somebody needs to do it, and why shouldn't we?
Amazing. I know that in your past you've had other jobs that in the same sector. You mentioned that you made your transition over to Regenerate last year at the end of 2024. What's kind of what kind of led you to that decision to come on Regenerate, and what was the kind of the key players that brought you on board?
Well, why? I had a really good job, to be very clear on that. So I didn't have to leave. But the last couple of years in my previous job was, I won't say boring, but it was we reached our potential more or less. And for me, what I'm good at is to build things, to build teams, to make things happen. So I was ready for a new journey. And as you maybe know, I know our president of Europe, Peter Carport, pretty well from previous business, and also our CFO, Anders Bonnebakken. So we had some talks during 2024. What can we do together? What should we do? And I decided during the summer break actually that come on, let's just do this, guys. So it was very important for me because I need to give credits to my former company as well and my former board. It's very important for me to have a good exit from the company. So there's no issues there. They will be a partner for us in the future as well, just for your information. So it was really important to let's say leave in a good way, and then just all hands on deck and keep pushing from December. So I would say that the innovation, the disruption we are doing in Regenerate is kind of the most intriguing thing, actually.
Understood. Yeah, I think it seems like the team, you hear that from a lot of the team, is the innovation that Regenerate brings, the IP kind of really attracts people on building a team. So thanks for taking a little time about talking about that. Just moving forward, I know we've spoken a little bit about maybe a trading platform and bringing that on board as well. What would that look like, and what advantage would that bring to Regenerate if we did start something along those lines?
Yeah, for sure. Trading on materials is one thing that we can do on a lot of existing platforms. But if you look to Europe, it's the regulations here are quite strict, and there's also been implemented what they call the European battery regulation. There's so much reporting to be done from the recyclers into, let's say, the national authorities in the countries you do recycling in. But it's also a European perspective on this. So, and all this is digitalized. So what I would like to have is a platform where we can map the carbon footprint, we can log the battery passport requirements, we can trace our materials from cradle to grave and back to cradle again. There's so much potential in having a platform with traceability and transparency for our customers and partners. So yeah, as you know, I'm in big favor of the platform, and we have done some work on it, but of course this is a bigger project that will take some time. And it's key for us to have key for us to have this for the carbon footprint reporting, all that's happening in Europe. And for me, this is all about building best practice and kind of to raise the bar a bit. So our competitors will also be, they have to perform as well. And also, why not bring this way of thinking also to the US, where I know the regulations are a bit different, but okay, let's try to raise the bar there as well.
That's a great point about raising the bar. I know that in Italy, we're trying to set a new standard in Europe based on what we're bringing to the sector. It's going to kind of elevate the whole industry. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that's kind of ambitious, but at the same time, I know that we have goals to get there, and it might be a process to get there. But kind of what's that first step look like along that process?
The first step would be to a proof of concept. What we are doing in Italy. That's number one now. Proof of concept, just to show that we actually do what we're saying we are doing. And I have to say, it looks fantastic so far.
Amazing.
I'm really, really intrigued, especially last week in Italy. Oh, I'm so excited. So I just can't wait to go back. So
understood.
So of course we will have some timeline challenges. We are seeking investors, etc. But the whole project is just so, it's so good. Understood. So we just need to make Italy work, and that will just rocket us away, moving on. Trust me.
So you speak about the proof of concept. Once that proof of concept's kind of laid out and people have been able to understand what we're bringing to the industry, what's kind of the transition into moving to the US? Is that something that attracts you? I know that you have some connection with the US in your past. Is that something that you're looking forward to, bringing Regenerate to the US? And how do you kind of see that as kind of moving forward?
Yeah, of course it is. The US is a very important market for us. It's huge. That's one thing. But there's so much potential over there. And I will also say that, the last 5 years, we've seen also kind of a green transition starting to happen in the US. They actually started at the end of Trump's first period. So if somebody asks me what I think about the political situation in the US, I say, well, for our company, this is business as usual. We still see great potential in the US, and we are really aiming to get growing over there. And we also have a couple of people on board in the US already, as you know, Zach, which are doing great work over there. So I think lessons learned from Italy. The plant in Italy, in tons, which often these industrial sites are measured in, compared to most other lead acid battery recycling plants in Europe, it's top 3, I think. So it's huge in tons.
Yep, huge.
So it's massive. So the lessons we will learn there, to bring that into the US, to have a, let's say, shorter execution time in the US compared to what we had in Europe, due to lessons learned, will also bring us faster to market. So I'm really, really intrigued by raising the bar in Europe, bring it to the US.
I love that, and it really shows that we're kind of doing it the right way, proving that concept on a national level in Italy, and then kind of taking that same model as we go about. What makes that kind of so important for you to do that due diligence and make sure that everything's in line before you kind of go to market, or kind of take on that next step without kind of fully understanding where you're at the moment?
Yeah, well, for me as an individual, transparency of what we do has always been important. That means to authorities, to customers, partners, whoever we are working with. So due diligence are very, very important for me. This is also what I bring into Regenerate, that this is a super important process we need to go through in every aspect of our business. Not only if you look at to acquire a company, to do a due diligence, but also on our partners, to have control of our supply chain. Where are we here? So I think that's one of the key elements to be successful, to have a very strict due diligence setup. And I think that we have a lot to learn still on this. We are moving into a market very few of us have worked in, like in Italy. The market in Italy might be different than the market in Spain or Germany or France or the UK or Norway and Sweden. So we need to adapt to the local requirements also as well. But as a group and as a company, of course, due diligence, doing things the right way and be transparent is key for us to have a success.
I love that. You just kind of the common thread through our conversation has been about transparency, and just moving more a little bit away from Regenerate about you as a leader. Why is transparency so important when it comes to early stage startup? I guess you could call this a startup. Why is that so important when you're speaking about, say, also an industry like batteries, which has not always been transparent in the past? Can you speak a little bit about why is that so important for you?
Yeah, you said the key word. The battery industry has some history which has not been so transparent. And I think that the only way to clean up in that is to be transparent. So that's the only way to do it. It comes not only for lead acid batteries, it's the whole battery value chain. At the same time, regulations enforce companies in Europe now to have more transparency on their business. You need to map, you have to have traceability of your materials, your partners, your intake, your offtakes, everything, which is good. I really, really support that. But for me as an individual, transparency has always been the way to the business. In my early days as a leader, I had great leaders myself and bad leaders myself. So I tried to learn the best from both worlds to become a team builder. That's what I do. And I think that instead of just being on the top, telling people what to do, you need to be at the front, having them along and go and push for them. And I think it's easier to get people to work with you if you are as transparent as you can be. Of course, you can't share everything with all at all times, but you need to be as transparent as you can be to have people support your cause and move on.
It's interesting because you always speak of people think about leaders and how they're always there for other people, but oftentimes the best leaders have had their own mentor in the past. You speak a little bit about how important it is to find, say, a mentor, find people that are in leadership positions where you can kind of bounce ideas off, or when it comes to team building, you can kind of lean on them a little bit as well. Why is that important?
Oh, it's so important. I have personally, I've had a couple of mentors myself during my days, and I still have one actually. So it's great. Now, to have a mentorship is key. And I've been supporting a lot of students in universities in Norway over the years as well, just as kind of as a mentor on their tasks and what to do on their exam, etc. But this also keeps me young in my mind. You know what I mean? So I get so much back from that as well. I'm not just giving; I'm getting so much as well. So for young people who have to feel that they have a leader in them, to access to a mentor, to get a mentor, well, is key. And it's all about recognizing the history. And okay, this is history, and combine that with how we will do it in the future. Young and old combined is the future leadership. That's just the way it is.
I love that. I think that bridging that gap, right, especially kind of in a battery sector where it is a little old timer in terms of when you look at the age of the industry, but it looks like if you're trying to bridge that gap, bringing in kind of new thought leaders when it comes to also this whole new environmental standards that are being in place, I feel like the younger generation is going to definitely have to blend with the older generation and then kind of grow the industry in a new light. So that's really interesting. And just kind of for us to finish off, can you give us a little bit of kind of how you see the battery industry growing in the next, say, 2 to 3 years, and then also in a 10-year perspective as well?
Yeah, well, as you know, if you look to Europe, it's been kind of all focus on electric cars and transportation.
Yeah.
That will come either you want it or not. It's coming. So that's just the way it is. Great for us as well, because it's also lead acid batteries in all electric vehicles. So yeah, let's support that. So the industry will grow, I would say, significantly. The next 2-3 years, we have to see. On the recycling side, it's the access to material, which is the key. Where we are in the battery sphere, in lead acid, there's more than enough material available for recyclers. So we just need to deliver from Italy and export that into other markets. Battery industry in general in Europe it's a bit complicated, but I think that the regulation gives a competitive edge to companies who are willing to follow through and stand their ground and take a position here. For the US, it's growth as well, of course, and we all see the charts of you could call it the hockey stick effect, that from both Europe and the US from 2035 and moving on is a hockey stick effect on access to material for recycling. But before that, we need to build capacity for production. So yeah, it's billions and billions and billions to be invested the next 10 years. And I think it's all about those who have the stamina. Right now in Europe, it's a bit tough. We all have heard about the Northvolt bankruptcy, etc. What happened there? It's a shame. Fantastic company, and if they had made it, wow, they would be a global pioneer, trust me. Hopefully others can prevail and take the position. There's so much potential in batteries. You see it in all parts of society, not only in cars. You see it now in grid support, energy storage, consumer. It's so growing. So my 2 to 3 year forecast, quite moderate actually, but my 10-year forecast is huge. It's so huge, Zach. So it's all about pole position.
Yeah, we're putting ourselves in that kind of position, that sweet spot. So once that 2-3 years and that large projection into the 10 years, we're going to be ready. So really appreciate you taking some time with me today, Fredrik. I know we spoke on a lot of different topics, so I'm always inspired after having a conversation with you, and I know the people listening are going to be as well. I wish you the best on the adventures. I know Italy is going to be extremely a little stressful, but a lot of progress and momentum from there, and kind of just shooting us off in the right direction as we look to expand elsewhere as well. So really appreciate your time today, Fredrik. I know we're going to have many more shared conversations, some beers as well in Norway soon. So appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Zach, so much.